People say all the time, why are you single? And it's because these are the guys that I let into my life. It's not intentional. And it's never until I look back at it that I'm like, wow, you're a dumb bitch. Welcome back! When I first started vlogging on my second channel a couple months ago, I mentioned that I went on a first date with a guy and then a follow-up where I went on a second date with a guy. What I failed to mention is I actually ended up going on a lot of dates with this guy. And because this is my life and this is how my life works, he ended up being pretty shitty. But just like everything else shitty that happens in my life, it's pretty entertaining. Honestly, the only reason I still subject myself to dating in LA is in the hopes that at the end of it all, even if I don't find true love, I will get a good story out of it. Be careful what you wish for, my friends. To be honest, looking back at the situation, it's really hard to imagine that I missed all of the warning signs along the way, where I should have been like, oh, this guy's a shithead, let's move along. Painfully obvious. Have you ever seen Dora the Explorer or some other kid show that is more relevant at the time of you watching this video? And they're always like, can you help me find the yellow star? Where is it? Yeah, I'm the only bitch in the world who couldn't find the yellow star, only it's not yellow, it's red, and it's not a star, it's a flag. Yes, I missed all the red flags. So let's start from the beginning. I'm going to try to condense this extremely long, muddled story as much as I can, but strap in! I met this guy, well, can you guess where I met this guy? No? Yeah, I did meet the guy on a dating app. So we go on our first date in this hole-in-the-wall sushi restaurant. I ask him what he does and he says, oh, I'm building a company with my brother. So I say, that's really cool. What kind of company is it? And he says his brother is a lifestyle coach. And I don't know why this just popped into my head, but I said, oh, so he's a pickup artist. He was really taken off guard, but then he was like, yeah, honestly, that's a huge part of it. So trying to be playful, I said, that's interesting. Tell me some of the stuff he taught you. What are some of the tricks? And this guy tried to tell me that even though his brother is a self-proclaimed professional pickup artist and he's in business with said brother, he never taught him a single thing. Can you help me find the bullshit? The reason this is a very wonderful intro to a very only me story is what happened next. He then, in this hole-in-the-wall sushi restaurant, stood up, extended his hand, and said, would you like to dance with me? No music. Out of the blue, mid-conversation, like 4 other people in the restaurant, including the sushi chef and the waitress. Now, I get what he was going for. It's like some sappy romantic scene from like the fucking Notebook where they dance with no music and it's supposed to be this magical moment. But no, this is not romantic. This is creepy. You're a stranger. We're in a sushi restaurant. This place is kind of gross and it's very bright under these fluorescent lights. And no, I do not want to dance with you. Shut the fuck up and eat your miso soup. So then I say, was that a pickup trick? And he said, no. After a few more minutes, he reached around my neck, grabbed my hair. I jumped back and I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? I don't like being touched. He then said, oh, I was just thinking how cute you would look with your hair like this. I said, is this a pickup trick? He said, no. He then told me, without me asking, how sensitive he is, how much he respects his mother, how much he hates one-night stands, and I asked him, is this part of a pickup trick? And he said, no. So not only did he try the most basic textbook pickup tricks, but he lied about all of them to my face. And I know this because he later admitted to me that all of those things were indeed pickup tricks. Date's over, we go outside. He asked me if I want to go on a walk around the neighborhood. And I think, well, as long as I don't go down a dark alley, it's probably fine. Then he tries to hold my hand. Hold my hand! We met like 35 minutes ago. Holding hands is so intimate. As an adult, I know like when you're in junior high or high school, it's a really cute thing to do, but when you're a grown up, you just don't hold hands. I'm sorry. That's a really relationship-y thing to do. I will have your children before I hold your hand. So I just say, hey, no, I don't really want to hold hands. He then says, you didn't actually think I wanted to hold your hand, right? And I was like, okay, yeah. And then he goes, seriously, I didn't. I just wanted to hold your hand to see if it was calloused and gross. So we're walking around and this is just a little tidbit. It really doesn't have a lot to do with the story, but I just found it so entertaining. He randomly brings up the fact that when he doesn't have a car. So when he goes grocery shopping, he goes in roller skates. Needless to say, I'm not holding his hand. Conversation's weird. He actually ends up walking me home, and as we're at the crosswalk, get this, he full-fledged, in for the kill, tries to kiss me. I didn't even want to hold your hand yet. What in God's name makes you think that I want to kiss you? So anyway, he finishes walking me home. I go inside. He texts me pretty much like, I think 5 or 10 minutes afterwards. He's just like, I had a really great time tonight. I'd really like to see you again soon. He ends up asking me out a few times again over the course of the next week. I was busy and wasn't really super interested in it, but he kept hitting me up and kept saying kind of really nice things. So I was like, you know what? He's really persistent. He really wants the second date. That's kind of endearing. He might have been nervous. Bad first impression. I'll go out on a second date with this guy. And wouldn't you know it, the second date was actually pretty nice. We went to a comedy show, we got drinks, we laughed. It was really great. He remembered a lot of stuff that I told him about me from the first date. So I agreed to a third date. Oh, one thing that I should probably mention is that in this time, he never acknowledged the fact that he knew me or my videos or what I did, but as I later found out, he had followed me in 2014, unfollowed me in 2015, but pretended to have no idea. So, kind of shady. So pretty much immediately, he actually asked me to meet his brother, and it was really important to him that I met his family and got along with his family. At this point, we had only been on like 2 or 3 dates, and he was really treating us like a couple, but he kept insisting. Ultimately, it was really important to him, and why not? So we went to this music show, and by absolute coincidence, 3 of my close friends were also going there that night. So now not only am I meeting his brother, but he's meeting some of my best friends in LA. He gets us drinks, we're all having a good time, and after about 20 minutes, half an hour, I decide to go get another drink. At which point, he says to me, hey, be careful, maybe you shouldn't get another drink. I don't want you to get too sloppy. Needless to say, that put a bit of a damper on the evening. Somehow, and by somehow I mean I'm desperate for human affection, we started low-key dating, like hanging out every other day. At one point, he came to meet my friends, and immediately all of my guy friends just hated him. So I ignored them that night. We continue hanging out, and at this bar we go to, there's always cotton candy. So I'm just like casually picking at this cotton candy. This is after I've been working out for months and months and months and working on my issues with food and eating. And as I reach for another bite of cotton candy, he says to me, are you sitting down? Because I need you to sit down for this because it's gonna blow your fucking mind what this stranger said to me. I reach for another piece of cotton candy, and he says, maybe we should take a break from the cotton candy. He gets 2 red flags for this one. 1, for trying to tell me what to do again. And 2, for insinuating that I need to watch what I'm eating. In fact, let's just give him 1 more for good measure. So we took a little bit of a break after that, but because I'm me, when he gave me the whole sob story about he's working on himself and he's so sorry, I believed him and we started hanging out again. But the next couple weeks were actually pretty nice. He helped me move, we went on some really awesome dates, we opened up to one another, and honestly, we taught each other a lot. I can truly say that in the time, we did contribute a lot to one another's lives and growth. There were a couple little things along the way, like when we were hanging out with his cousin, and his cousin was on a date with a girl who was pretty much the same size as me, and they both agreed that she was too chubby. The fact that he sent me a gift and it was a self-help book. The fact that he repeatedly asked me how much money I made. But overall grand scheme, it was actually pretty great. I went away for a few days, we talked on the phone every day. It was just nice. And then I came back. We hung out pretty much as soon as I got back. I was tired, I had a long weekend, and we just hung out in my pool and we talked. Again, it was nice. So then we decided we wanted to go out to dinner. So we went up to my apartment so we could dry off and get changed, where, well, I'm just gonna say it, he asked, no, actually, he demanded that I him. Is anyone else getting deja vu? But then he asked, do you wanna give me a Right. I said no. And he said, seriously, you're really not going to? The way he was talking, it was as if I promised to pick him up from the airport, and when his plane landed, he asked me where I was, and I said, sorry, I'm not coming. Only the airport was his dick, and he was the one who wasn't coming. No, but seriously, he made me feel really, really shitty for not wanting to randomly him, as if that's my duty on this earth. So I get upset, I go to my bedroom, and while I'm in there, he gets a call from his boss that he had been waiting for days about his salary. This whole time, he had been so convinced that he was going to get so much money. He thought he was gonna make $800 to $1,200 a day. I kept saying, hey dude, maybe keep your expectations a little bit lower. That's a lot of money and you're just starting out in this company. But he kept saying, no, trust me, he needs me, I'm irreplaceable. He was so positive that he was irreplaceable in this company. By the way, the new job, he was an editor, a video editor for porn. He was a porn editor. He thought that he was irreplaceable at editing porn. I can find you 30 guys in my building that would do it for free. No, they would pay to edit that porn just to see all of the endless hours of unedited raw porn footage. And he thought that he was completely irreplaceable, invaluable to this company. So anyway, he gets this call and he's in my office and I can hear him from my living room, but basically he gets offered per week what he thought he was going to make a day. So he gets offered like $1,000 a week. So he gets pretty upset, and honestly, I'm still upset about him making me feel like shit for not putting his dick in my mouth on command. But I try to lighten the mood with a little joke. So I'm like, oh man, you've had a really rough 10 minutes, bud. I think he's gonna laugh. And he says, are you serious? You're so insensitive. Why would you make a joke at a time like this? At this point, we'd been dating for like a month and a half. You only need to know me for a minute and a half to know that I make jokes in really uncomfortable situations. And he also just asked me to put his dick in my mouth. Like, what? So I'm like, okay, let's cool off. Let's just go to dinner. So I'm driving to dinner and he's complaining about the call. And he says he's also getting paid every 2 weeks. I want everybody to pay attention, actually. Get your calculators, get your notebook, and get some cleaning supplies because it is going to blow your mind out of your skull to hear what happened next. He is saying that he's getting paid every 2 weeks instead of every 1 week. And I was like, well, you know, that's not really that big of a deal. He tries to tell me that when you get paid bi-weekly, that you make less money. And I said, no, you make the exact same amount of money, you just get paid a week later. He said, no, if you get paid every 2 weeks instead of every week, you lose 2 paychecks over the course of the year. So basically, in this guy's mind, he truly believes that if you get paid every other week instead of every week, that your employer is somehow keeping more money for himself. That is not the case. If you get paid bi-weekly or every week, you make the exact same amount of money, you just get paid at different times. It's the most common of sense. So then he tries to go off into this math tangent with me, and he goes, pay attention, as if I'm the stupid one here. How many weeks are in a year? And at this point, I'm just ignoring him. I've been really good at not arguing lately. I'm not gonna feed into it. He says, oh, so you're just not going to answer me? So I very calmly say, honestly, I don't agree with you. I'm not going to agree with you, and I don't think that you're ready right now to accept the fact that you may not be right. So I think it's best if we just don't have this conversation right now. Because he's blatantly wrong. So he says, are you fucking serious? Just drive me home. As we were on our way to dinner. So I stop the car, I look at him and I say, you want me to drive you home instead of going to dinner because I don't agree with you on this math problem? And he said, yeah, I just don't want to be with you right now. I said, okay, well, you can Uber home. Like, I'm not your mom. If you're gonna throw a hissy fit and then demand me to chauffeur you, get the fuck out of my car and call an Uber. Like, no, fuck you. He gets out, he goes, you're just fucking rude. Slams my door, and that is literally the last time I've ever seen him. Anyway, that's the story of the last guy that I dated. I wish it had a bigger ending, it doesn't, but this video, wow, this video is long as fuck. But make sure you give this video a like for my dating troubles. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't, please, and to my vlog channel. And it's time for Showstopper of the Week, who I'm going to tell you who it is right now. She likes and retweets pretty much all my tweets, and I love seeing that type of support. It really means a lot to me, so thank you for being a babe. Anyways, thanks for watching. As always, I love you very much. Thank you for being a part of my family, and I'll see you next time. Did you hear that? Like 4 other people in this restaurant, including the sushi chef